So last night when I got into camp, I thought that today I would talk about loneliness on the trail. I mean, the Appalachian Trail is definitely a social experience. You run into a lot of people, you meet a lot of people, but you can go through periods where you're not seeing any of the same people, so it's all strangers. And one person I had kind of developed a connection with was a older guy from the Chicago area who works in, well, anyway, he goes by the name of Viking. And when I got into Duncannon, when I was taking my zero in Carlisle, he said that he was going to be taking a zero in Duncannon. So I thought, okay, I can catch up to him. And he said he was going to be at the hostel that's called Kind of Outdoorsy. And so I stopped in there, and his name wasn't on the register. He wasn't there. I walked through town. I ended up going to the Assembly of God hostel. Stayed there. I figured, well, he must have decided that he felt good and was going to keep pushing on and not take a zero. So I figured that might be the last I see of him, or at least it would take me a week or so to catch up. Let's see, what is this? The end of the Horseshoe Trail. Okay. And this is our sign. I'm going to the Rausch Gap Shelter. Got another 8.3 miles. It's only about 10 a.m. So anyway, so I set up my hammock all solo near the spring by Clark River, and I hear someone, as I'm taking a little nap in my hammock, I hear someone coming in. Sure enough, it's Viking. He was behind me. Apparently he stayed at a place, he did take a zero in Duncannon, stayed at a place that I didn't even know had been renovated and was taking people. So anyway, he's up a little ahead of the trail. We're going to meet up again at Rausch Shelter, if not before. And so that was real encouraging. And then this morning ran into someone who I'd met early on in the hike. She's doing a flip-flop hike, started from Harper's Ferry, and she didn't even have a trail name when we met. Her name was Angela. Now she's got a trail name. It's Mare, because she likes to talk to everybody. So that was fun to meet up with her again. And it's almost like before I had a chance to pray about loneliness or think more deeply about it, people were showing up out of the woodwork. I'd actually hoped for this sabbatical. Last time around, I'd proposed to my wife, Amy, that we do a hike together, and I'll be the Sherpa. I'll carry all the heavy load. She just has to carry her own clothes and food and water for the day. And never seemed to be able to train for that. Look, we're walking right into an amazing stealth site. Huge fire pit. A couple spots over there. And just never seemed, I was thinking we could do the John Muir Trail, or we could go back to the Tahoe Rim Trail. But never seemed that we could really train together. There were always various health issues and frozen shoulder. And now, more recently, she's had a diagnosis of atypical cystic fibrosis. And basically, about 1 in 25 people who are white carry a defective gene that leads to cystic fibrosis. And if both of your parents have it, so if you're the children of white parents, it's about a 1 in 625 chance, you have cystic fibrosis. Now, for people who have it severely, have a non-functional protein, this used to lead to early childhood death. But even now with the various therapies, it still is a difficult life. And my understanding is 30 is pretty old for someone with full-blown cystic fibrosis. But many more people have atypical cystic fibrosis, in that you probably have a partially functional protein. And what this means is you may have no symptoms, or you may have a single organ that's affected, or you may have multiple organs. There's a kind of a spectrum. And the silver lining in the cloud is that now we know, and there are therapies for many of the issues. And it also explains why Amy was getting the diabetic type symptoms that didn't really match type 1 or type 2 diabetes, and the lung infections and the intussusceptions that resulted in emergency surgeries. So she has a form that affects multiple organs. And again, the silver lining in the cloud is that we live in the Boston area, where there's a whole cystic fibrosis center, and we have incredible medical care, so that's wonderful. But it probably does mean that my dream of one day hiking even a relatively short long trail together is probably not going to happen, which is another reason I was thinking about loneliness on the trail. And that this is kind of a love of mine, and it's sad that for the most part it doesn't look like we'll be able to share it together. But I do appreciate how she is supportive of me going on these jaunts, these tramps, these walkabouts, these pilgrimages. In any case, I think that's all I have for today. I hope you have partners in your journey in life. I hope that your journey is not one with too much loneliness. Ooh, mountain laurel.